I just not copyright issues. I just like I just like switching the letters on names. Like like Dave Rubin would be Rave Dubin. Steven Crowder doesn't really work though, right? It's more like Tevin Strouder. It doesn't really work, but I tried it. But like, yeah, I never voted because I refused to lower my standard. What the fuck does that mean? Lower your standard of what? Oh fuck, I'm opening a million things right now. No. Now we're back on the politics, boys. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, but what do you mean like lower your just your standard? If you want to know what my political thinker is, I don't know. I don't have like a specific, but I listen to people like Kyle Klinsky, Sam Cedar. You know. Yeah, but what about Bernie Sanders, buddy? Like, what are your views? Who would you? What's your optimal politician? What do you want? What do you want from the country? Because if you just want one specific thing, like you might never get it unless Chris is like, yeah, I don't know. What do you want? What kind of politician might suit you the most? But yeah, for the question of a political thinker, I listen to like David Pakman, Kyle Klinsky, Sam Cedar, sometimes the Young Turks, Destiny on Twitch, stuff like that. Okay, well, so I know what you're talking about. People like Beto O'Rourke do that. Fuck them. People like Kamala Harris do that. Fuck them. Like all those moderates do it. Trump does it as well. He kind of just throws out hype words and jargon at people. But Bernie Sanders doesn't really do that. He puts out a lot of numbers and statistics, and um, he's always talking about policy, constantly. Um, so I would say, right, like in my opinion, Bernie Sanders doesn't do that almost ever. Whereas a lot of other people, like the moderates, will do it, and right wingers seem to do it because mostly because they have to, right? Um, from my own experience, myself, yeah, I agree with Bernie's point of view the most out of all American politicians. I agree with Bernie Sanders' view the most. I'm not like directly married to his ideas. I'm no Bernie bro, but if I was American, because I'm Canadian, if I was American, I would vote for Bernie Sanders of all candidates. Yeah, because Bernie Sanders, a lot of his ideas connect very much with the American population. So Medicare for all is like polled at like 75% people wanting it. Higher minimum wage people want. More taxes on the rich people want. Right, all these things he says resonate with the American population. And right wingers like Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder have to kind of ignore that or just call people dumb for believing it. But what I was gonna go with my like own anecdote is there's a guy, my current premier in Ontario is Doug Ford, and essentially he did exactly what you hate. He just talked about a bunch of jargon and didn't say anything, and so did like all of the politicians running for premier in my province. They all just said nothing. The Liberal Party said like, look, we did good things. Let's continue that. The NDP Party, which is like basically at this point, they're supposed to be the Socialist Party, but they're not. They're just another Liberal Party, and they literally basically said that on the campaign trail. They're like, look, We're just going to be the Liberal Party, but better. So that means fuck all. And then Doug Ford walked on stage and said, I'll give you $1 a beer, and you're not going to get fired, maybe. And then he went into office and cut a million things, and fucking, because he didn't set up a plan, there's no like fallback. He's like, well, I didn't say I wouldn't do this, so he just cut a million things and is giving money to fucking horse races. Yeah, no, I could agree. Yeah, I could agree with that. That's like the biggest problem, and I don't know where you fall politically, but right wingers do this the most. Sadly, they'll say something, and it just kind of sticks in the mind. But it takes, like, you'll see this if you go to my YouTube channel. You'll see that I have like 5-hour videos, 2-hour videos, 3-hour videos on a clip on a video that was like 15 minutes long. It's because right wingers like to just put out a simple statement and not back it up or just kind of like act as if it's true. So, for example, poor people. Well, in America, why there are poor people is because they're just not smart and don't make good decisions, and they should just go out and get more, like, just get a job, right? These simple terms like get a job, work harder, be smarter. It's not that simple. Like, you can't just do that. Yes, I've heard of Jordan Peterson, and I had a that's not my bag, but I had in school I had a project about, I took a humanities class and there's a project on it, and I fucking like ripped into Jordan Peterson. It was an article about him. I ripped into him for like 7 pages plus, and I got 100% on that thing. So I know very much about Jordan Peterson, and I fucking hate that guy. Now maybe, let's clarify this, maybe his self-help stuff, his actual, like, how he got his degree and doctorate in sociology, maybe, is it sociology or is it psychology? Anyways, whatever his doctorate is in, maybe he's actually good in that. But when he goes into politics, oh my fucking God, it is a train wreck. Yeah, clinical psychology. Maybe his stuff, like his self-help and stuff like that, maybe that's good. Maybe. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not his patient, and he doesn't talk about it that much. Maybe that's fine, because he has a doctorate in it. He got it somehow. Like, he's experienced in it. It must work, right? It's not like he's, you know? So what I dislike about him is that he says a lot of stuff and doesn't really back it up. So, for example, in the article I read, he said that he's studied this is like verbatim, maybe it's more paraphrased. I'm not getting some words right, but pretty much verbatim. He said that he studied authoritarianism on the left and the right for 35 years. 35 years. So authoritarianism, you know, Stalin, Hitler, Mao, like authoritarianism. He studied authoritarianism and came to the conclusion after 35 years of studying this that Marxism is the most murderous ideology. I know he has a thing against communism, so why didn't he pick Stalin? Why didn't he pick Mao? Like, Hitler wasn't more murderous than Marx. The reason he chose Marx, and the reason he has no backup for his research, it's not like his research he did for 35 years is fucking peer-reviewed. He just says it. He just said he studied it for 35 years, and he came to the conclusion that Marxism is wrong and murderous, which is just totally untrue. It's totally unfounded, backed up. He has no evidence to support his idea. He just says it, and his millions of followers fucking believe him because he has 35 years of experience. I know. I doubt he's ever read Marx in his fucking life. Like, Marx never ran a country. Marx just advocated for the, basically total equality of all, which you could argue against. It's fine. Like, you could be against it. But to call it the most murderous ideology is fucking the dumbest thing you can say. He should have just said Stalin. Like, Stalinism is the most murderous ideology. But I don't even think he knows what Stalinism is. He just says it's all communism, and all communism is Marxism, so therefore Marxism is the most murderous ideology. Yeah, like, Marx wanted the total annihilation of classes. So, he didn't want any form of classism whatsoever. So no government, just fucking, like, I don't know. Like, it was the stupidest thing ever. Like, Marx, if, like, the way Marx himself could never, ever become, like, because he just wasn't for power. He wanted everyone to just be, like, neutral things, workers, stuff like that, right? Like, I think, I haven't really read much of Marx. I just have the Communist Manifesto over there. That's about it. Yeah, you're right. Like, you could argue against, and I would probably agree with you, that as human beings, it's nearly impossible for us to remove classes because of our evolutionary background, right? We wanna put things into groups, right? So it's like, because we do, right? Red berry, like, okay, a guy, your fellow tribesman walks out into the bush and eats a red berry and dies. Evolutionarily, we decided that all red berries are bad because one of our fucking guys died. So don't eat red berries anymore. It's too much of a risk to eat a red berry and possibly die. So red berries, bad. Okay? Shaking trees, bad because there might be a lion inside of it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it seems that, like, naturally we want to classify people. The problem is it turns toxic, right? So the classification of genders, making it so that women can't go into the workforce. They have to be mothers. That's like kind of, it turns into toxic behavior, and we're trying to move and remove that. And then Peterson comes out and says it's fucking murderous to want to use gender neutral pronouns, even though, like, maybe it's hard for us to use. Sorry, let me just read this. Yeah, no, the problem is that he doesn't say that. What he says is he dog whistles that there's an inherent difference between men and women, and that our classes are, like, inherent to human life, which they're not. They just kind of developed through evolutionary means somewhat and culture. So, for example, the gender stuff, he literally thinks that there's a huge difference between men and female, and that, like, there's the video he did, the interview with, I think it was a guy from Vox, or was it a guy from Vice? I'm not sure where he was from, but he did a interview, and he literally said, like, this is like the dog whistles that Peterson throws out. Men and women don't seem to work to work out in the work environment, and it's like, and the guy asks, like, okay, well, why not? And he's just like, well, maybe it's because of their makeup. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you mean? And he's like, well, you wear makeup to, like, amplify your like, sexual stuff. So he says, like, why do you wear red makeup? Well, because during sexual intercourse, your lips turn red. And it's like, okay. So he's basically insinuating that the reason females and men don't work at the workplace is because of makeup. So you should not wear makeup because makeup is like a sexual driver, even though it's not, because some people might wear black makeup. Like, people could wear dark, different shades. Not everyone wears red lipstick and rouge on their cheeks. Like, what? He's like just dog whistling that women don't work in the field because of, well, females. Yeah, I'll find it. Hold on. We'll go over the whole thing because that was pretty much the whole. Shit. We'll go through this whole thing. Why not? Fuck it. Where is it? Yeah, it's a Vice interview. Okay. Is this it? This better be it.
Here's a question. Well, I posed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the problem is that they're wrong, right? Or it's like a cultural thing. So what happens is that it's true that men and women don't get along in the workplace right now. Maybe it's true. No, but the thing is that it's not like societal oppression. It's just like a culture thing. So historically, we viewed women as caretakers of the home and not part of the workforce. Men would go to work and women would stay home. So now women want to move into the workplace because they have every right to, and we know that women can, like, a man can take care of kids besides, like, milking and stuff like that, but with further advancements in like medical and stuff like that, like, you don't need a mother to milk. It might be more healthy, but there's artificial milk. Like, it's like one thing. So a father can take up the role of being a mother, no problem, as long as he's educated on the thing and stuff. Like, it's all about education. If a man knows how to be a mother, he can be a mother. If a woman knows how to be a father, she can be a father. So women are moving into the workforce, but because of our historical background, they are discriminated against and some people in the workforce, like some old dude, your boss, whatever, won't take you seriously because you're a woman. This is a true thing that happens in the workforce. And Jordan Peterson, in this interview, I'm pretty sure, basically suggests that it's not because we have a cultural or a historical basis in like not having women in the workforce. It's just that women don't work in the workforce. And he's suggesting that like makeup is probably one of the reasons, even though because it's like sexual harassment happens in the workplace because women wear makeup. It's like, no, it fucking doesn't. And plus, women could wear different shades of makeup, but they'll still get sexually harassed. But we'll go into this basically.
Here's a question. Let's have a real question. Can men and women work together in the workplace?
Yes.
So he says. So he'll make this. He'll ask this question. Like the biggest problem with Jordan Peterson is he says a bunch of stuff. In my opinion, he says a bunch of stuff and doesn't like back it up or explain it. He just kind of throws it out there, says a bunch of stuff, and then leaves you, the viewer, who might have a bias towards women in the workplace, figure it out. So he'll suggest a bunch of stuff. He'll dog whistle that women can't be in the workplace. And then you as the viewer have to, yeah, sure. No.
How do you do it?
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for, 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women. It's like we don't know if men and women can work together successfully.
But in what ways? Because
in the sexual harassment way.
40 years ago, I would have been.
All right, so here's the first part. He's saying that 40 years.
I don't know if I was a white man, I would have been Jacqueline's boss, and I could have done whatever I wanted, right? And that there would be almost no recourse that a woman who was working under me would have. Now they have some recourse. I mean, is that a?
There's recourse back then too. You could take people to the police.
Do you think that was happening?
Okay, so here's the first issue, right? So women have been working in the workforce for 40 years. Yes, but why is sexual harassment happening? Is it because men inherently sexually harass women? If that's true, then the rape culture actually physically exists, which we know that he would be against, and people are like against, like actual every dude wants to rape somebody isn't a true thing. So why is there sexual harassment in the workplace? Is it because men and women don't get along, or is there because there's a cultural aspect to women being in the workforce? So let's go back over this. I'll bring it on normal speed because we're talking back and forth and whatnot.
Now they have some recourse. I mean, is that a?
There was recourse back then.
Yeah, so he suggests that there's recourse back in the day. 40 years ago, they could have just gone to the police, which we know is just not true. Police wouldn't believe them. There was endless harassment about like women not being in the workforce. We know for a fact that back then, an excuse for you getting raped was, oh, well, just don't wear skirts. Oh, just don't go to work. Like, hey, if you don't want to, like a reason for you back in the day, and even now still, that's like the whole point, is like, hey, you don't want to get sexually harassed at work? Don't go to work. How is that a fucking solution to the problem? Don't go to work. Okay. Hey, it's like, I assume you play video games. It's like if you were playing a video game and somebody was just constantly calling you bad names or whatever. Should you just not play the video game? It's like, well, no. So that's why the game developers institute a mute button so that you can just mute that single individual instead of just being forced off the game. Yeah, but why are people evil, right? So, and again, if we are evil towards others, like we'll go through it, but sexual harassment are overanalyzed. It's just a result of different understandings of social distance between people. What do you mean by that? Yeah, sometimes there's like unjust sexual harassment where dudes are trying to be. But okay, so here's the problem with that. I think if I understand what you're saying, basically it's overanalyzed because some women will say that a guy being flirtatious with you is sexual harassment. But here's the problem. Imagine you're at work, you're doing your job, and your fucking boss comes over to you, or a coworker, and he goes, hey, you look pretty good. You want to go out for dinner sometime? In the middle of your fucking work day. And he walks over and asks you out. It's like, I'm doing work here. Could you leave me alone? I'm trying to work. Could you, like, you go out and get coffee or whatever, and your work buddy walks over and is like, hey, you look pretty good today. Do you want to, like, go get some like food sometime or whatever. It's like, can we work? Like, or let's say you're doing a cooperative work thing. You both are working on a project, and the dude you're working with is constantly asking you out or constantly saying like you look good and stuff like that. Like, sure, it's flirtatious, but it's not work appropriate, right? Do that after, when you guys are both leaving the building, being like, hey, do you want to go out for drinks sometime? You might say no. You might say like, work and relationships should be like different things. When you're at work, you should do work. When you're outside of work, you can ask her to go on a date. You can do the stuff. You shouldn't flirt with anybody at work. Yeah. Yeah, but that's like a problem with the workplace, and that's like, so, no, but it shouldn't. Well, that's like the point of trying to reduce it, because we can. You just have to culturally change people. You have to educate them. Hey, don't do this at the workplace. I know I don't do it. I do my very best, and maybe there's some, because I'm a pretty charismatic person, I would say. Maybe I'm just sucking my own dick right now, but maybe a part of me comes off as flirtatious naturally, which I can't really control. And so it's on the other person to take it as like a joke or whatever, stuff like that. But I'm not trying to be flirtatious. So I'll do my best. If I'm accidentally being flirtatious, I will never, ever ask somebody out during work or during a time period of like study or whatever, like if you're at school or stuff like that. I'll try to remove the two as best as possible. So you might be flirtatious at work kind of naturally because like you might be charismatic or stuff like that. But don't ask the person out at work. Don't do that. Don't do it. There's a reason why there's like a code against workplace relationships, against boss worker relationships, against teacher-student relationships, because there's like a power dynamic. Like that's the other problem with sexual harassment at work is the boss. Is if your boss comes over to you and asks you out, there's no fucking way you could properly say no, right? Because he has a position of power over you. So it's hard for you to say no at that point. So that's like the other problem. So it's just about separating the two. But we have to go back in the video because we're fuck.
You could take people to the police.
You could do you think that was happening a lot? I mean, like,
no,
I
think
guess
it's a dreadful thing to have to go to the police if you've been sexually assaulted.
If you feel like there's a
it's just like a fart for me. I tell them we're not that close yet and don't make it bigger than it seems. I think I get your point. I think I'm thinking about it too much of like a fart. I don't know. Let's get back in this video because we gotta go through this.
The reduction in harm, right? That things are bad. So you feel like right now the atmosphere in corporate workplace is the exact same that it was 40 years ago?
No, but I'm not sure. I'm not saying that it's any better.
It's not any better.
Well, maybe it is.
What is? I guess like not to ask you to sort of.
So here's the other point, right? He's not like stating anything. He's saying that it's been 40 years and it seems like there's a decline in Jesus fucking Christ, in the quality of work for women at the workplace or whatever. And he's saying, and then he asks like, okay, well then is it the same or different than it is now? And he's like, well, I'm not saying it's not different, but I'm not sure it's better. It's like, well, okay. Like it clearly is better than it was 40 years ago. But he's just kind of like ignoring the evidence.
Prove a negative, but I think that there's plenty of evidence if you look at all the stories that are coming out. Do you not feel like any of the stories that you've heard about what Hollywood is like, do you feel like that's not evidence that this is a problem?
Evidence that Hollywood is a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I look at Hollywood, all these people coming out of Hollywood talking about how sexual misbehavior is a problem, and I think people in Hollywood are talking about that, they've been capitalizing on sexual misbehavior for like 100 years.
But that, I mean, look, those are unrelated in a lot of ways. Yeah, like they're,
Why are they unrelated?
You as a professor should know like about correlation and causation. Like you're basically saying, well, you know, there have been movies with sex in it, therefore a PA on the set of a movie, of course, should be expected to be sexually harassed.
No, I'm saying
no, those two are separate worlds in any sort of pure logical sense. Like that is just a classic mix-up of correlation and
why
causation
are they separate worlds? We don't know how to draw the boundaries.
Because
so see what I'm getting at? He basically just said, or like dog whistled, that because there's sexual acts being taken place, so because there's because you have a sex scene in a movie, it justifies the sexual harassment at the workplace. Why is the fucking monitor not on? Does that make sense? Like, do we all catch that?
saying
Yeah,
that-
those two are a movie. You know, there have been
Yeah. So basically, because they're profiting off of sexual acts, it like justifies, or it kind of makes it okay that there are other sexual acts going on, because it's like just part of the business.
movies with sex in it. Therefore, a PA on the set of a movie, of course, should be
What do you mean? Socialization. I think he's getting at the fact that socialization occurs via things such as movies. So social expectations for interaction can in fact originate from movies. Yeah, but it's still wrong. I think I'm getting your point, but it would still be wrong. Like, sexual harassment at the workplace should stop. Even if it happens in a movie, you should know that it's wrong. Yeah. And peer pressure, peer pressure inside groups is wrong. So here's the Brett. Is it Brett Weinstein or Eric? Oh no, Eric's the YouTuber guy. Brett Weinstein, whatever the guy who's fucking diddling people at. That's like a huge problem. That is the biggest problem. And just because they've been doing it for hundreds of years and profiting off it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean it's natural. Like, it's wrong that guy was capable of just saying, "Hey, do you want to roll in this movie? Well, let's go behind the let's go into my my room for a second." Like, that's wrong. We need to change that. And how do we change that? Like, women have the right to be in the workplace. Like, what is natural and not? Like, I think that's
expected to be sexually
Well,
harassed.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah,
that-
those two are
saying that-
separate worlds in any sort of pure logical sense. Like, that is just a classic mix-up of correlation and
why are they
causation there.
separate worlds?
profiting. No, he's not saying that people are profiting off of claims. No. He's saying that people are profiting off of sexual acts in movies. That's what he's saying.
Those are
There's a problem, and I think people in Hollywood are talking about that. They've been capitalizing misbehavior as a problem. All these people coming out of Hollywood talking about how sexual misbehavior is a problem, and I think people in Hollywood are talking about that. They've been capitalizing on sexual misbehavior for like 100 years.
Yeah, so what he's saying Yeah, no, but it's not really virtue signaling when it, like, some of it might be virtue signaling, but when somebody comes out and says, like, "Hey, this guy's like diddling people for roles in movies," that's a justified call out, and it needs to be stopped. So basically what he's saying here is that he doesn't really take it seriously when somebody from Hollywood comes out and says that this is wrong, because they're profiting off of it and have been profiting off of it for hundreds of years. So basically, just because the person who got sexually harassed, so when Weinstein asks you into his room to get the role, well, you got the role, now you're making money. It doesn't matter that you had to go through that sexual act kind of unwillingly. You got money from it. You're profiting off of it. Therefore, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that the only way to make money in Hollywood, it appears, is from having sex with some fat old dude.
But that, I mean, look, those are unrelated in a
Are
lot
they?
of ways. Yeah, like they're.
Why
I
are
mean,
they
you as a
unrelated?
professor should know like about correlation.
Like, it's not okay to have awkward sexual encounters with people just because you're making money at the end of the day. Like, if that's your way of thinking, as long as you're making money, then, I mean, all right.
And causation, like you're basically saying, well, you know, there have been movies with sex in it, therefore a PA on the set of a movie, of course, should be expected to be sexually
Well,
harassed.
No, I'm saying
Yeah,
that-
those two are
saying that-
separate worlds.
Yeah, like, you see what's going on here? Just because there's a sexual, like, let's say you're making a movie and there's a rape scene in it, that doesn't justify any kind of sexual harassment going on at the workplace. Yeah, I know, but he's not, like, giving a solution to it.
worlds in any sort of pure logical sense. Like that is just a classic.
But he's just like, that's what I'm saying. He won't be for or against it. He'll just say that this thing happens and then not give a solution to it. It's just like, oh, well, this naturally occurs. It's wrong, but we can't do anything about it when we can clearly do something about it.
Classic mix-up of correlation and
Why are
causation
they
there.
separit's worlds? We don't know how to draw the boundaries.
Because
So
what-
here's the question. We could
Like, he'll say that we can't draw the boundaries. Like, what is sexual harassment and what isn't? It's like, well, it's pretty clear that sexual advances at the workplace is probably a bad thing. Let's get rid of that. But he'll be like, well, it's just natural. Like, how else is a guy supposed to get into a relationship if not at work, where like 90% of his day, like after work, after work. You're right. He is not sure of a solution to the issue, but he's going to suggest a lot of things that point in the opposite direction. So it comes out more with the makeup thing, but here's a little bit of it, I think. I'm not sure how
I
exactly.
feel like any movie that has like if you talk about sex in your
Yes, but that's the problem, is it leads the listener to their own conclusion, and their conclusion is that, oh, this is just a naturally occurring thing, there's nothing we can do about it, or that it doesn't happen at all. Yeah. But the problem is that he's saying that, he literally just said that, like, because they're profiting off of it, like, it's okay. Or, like, get women out of the workplace. Once the makeup thing comes up, it becomes more clear, because basically what he's suggesting is that because women and men don't get along at the workplace. Why? Well, they're getting sexually harassed. Why are they getting sexually harassed? Yeah, let's get.
your classroom, or if you talk about sort of sexual behavior in your classroom,
Well, this is all important.
and
too.
another classroom does not talk about sexual behavior at all, you feel like your classroom would have a higher chance or higher incidence rate of sexual assault or harassment?
No, but I would say that if I was part of an organization that built entire dozens of careers on sexual provocativeness, I would be very careful about like waving the ethical flag in the sexual wars. So you think Hollywood doesn't exploit sex? Hasn't the feminists been saying that?
See what I'm saying? So he's skeptical of the Hollywood actors calling out Weinstein, for example, on his sexual acts because they've been profiting off of it for so long, because of movies that existed that have these sexual acts taking place where somebody gets abused or whatever in a relation. Because that exists and they make money off of it, it's less like it's less of a problem. It's less of a sad thing, right? So yeah. Boy Who Cried Wolf story. No, he's more saying that. Well, let's go over it again.
Careers on sexual provocativeness, I would be very careful about like waving the ethical flag in the sexual war.
Yeah, so he's saying that because movies have profited off of sexual provocativeness, it's not surprising that the entire industry is built off of it. So therefore, you signed up for this, deal with it, right? Is basically his. No, but that's what he's saying, that like because sexual provocativeness exists in movies, don't be surprised that the industry is built off of sexual provocativeness. Is I'm pretty sure what he's saying right now. So in other words, suck it up. This is how the the movie industry works. Yeah, but this behavior's like let's say that is true, because in the movies, so an actor in a movie is a sexual object, straight up like a sexual object in a movie. Is she not allowed to complain about sexual harassment at the workplace? Because in a movie, she was a sexual object. That's pretty much what he's getting at. So just because Kim Kardashian flaunts her ass or whatever, like because supermodels exist, those supermodels cannot complain about sexual harassment because, well, they're supermodels. They're flaunting their body anyways. We're allowed to ogle at it even when they're not, like when they don't want it. Like that's like his point. He's saying that it's not surprising that the whole industry is built off of sexual misconduct and sexual harassment because, well, in movies they're sex icons and whatnot. So, but there's a difference between the work they're doing and like real life. A person who is a rape victim in a movie has every right to complain about rape in the workplace or sexual harassment in the workplace as anybody else. Like, so yeah, like that's where the correlation and causation falls apart, is because he's correlating that because they're making money off of being sexy and hot and beautiful, they can't complain about being harassed for being sexy, hot, and beautiful. And it's like, that's not true at all. So a model, a supermodel who is on a daily basis being like, okay, let's go to more of the extremes. You're a porn star, right? Every day you go into work and you get fucked. You shouldn't expect, and it would be wrong for some random idiot on the street to go, hey, you have a lot of sex, right? Want to have sex with me? That's sexual harassment, because it's not part of the workplace. It's not consensual. It's not like nobody agreed upon this. It's really awkward. No, but if you go to the gym and you get made fun of for being fat, you have a right to be upset. And you can be upset. Actually, not true. If you get compliments on your ass, you could be upset because it's like, I just want to be healthy. And like, let's say I go to the gym and I lose a bunch of weight and I get decent biceps. I don't want someone to ogle over my biceps all the time. I mean, I'm pretty egotistical, so I would want that, but she doesn't have to be upset at the compliment. The problem is that constantly people are like berating her for a boob job. That's somewhat true. But that's like, so that's the purpose of removing it from the workplace, right? You're right. Sexual harassment is kind of subjective, right? Some people just don't like, someone gets a boob job because they don't like their boobs personally, but they don't want people talking about it because it's really awkward. So instead of having a defined line, just remove it. Just take it out of the workplace. Nobody fucking have any sexual acts at the workplace. Just take it out. It's healthier that way. It's been proven to be healthier that way. The problem is that Jordan Peterson is drawing the conclusion that because women are getting harassed at the workplace, they should just not be in the workplace. It's clear that women can't be in the workplace, and it's not even their choice. It's like not even their fault. They're just, men like boobs, so therefore get out of the workplace. Instead, the solution should be remove the sexual thoughts from the workplace. Don't say, hey, you look nice today at the workplace. Like, there's a line, right? Like, there's no point. Like, I wouldn't even do it, actually. Personally, I wouldn't say, like, hey, you look beautiful today and stuff like that, because we're at work. Like, do your fucking job. There's no, like, right? Because then it gets awkward. You're right. Who does define who is harassment? So just remove it all. If you're close to someone, yeah. No, yeah, that's like the point, right? So like, that's why you should just like remove it from the work. Like, it's probably a bad idea for you to have a workplace relationship, because once that relationship devolves, let's say you have a nice healthy relationship, you guys don't talk to each other at the workplace, you guys are doing whatever, but then you break up. Then it's really awkward because you're working with this person all the time and you've once had sexual intercourse with them and now you're not. No, it's not that you can't give no compliments. It's just like, what I'm saying is like, just put it into society. Try to culturally change the world. Jordan Peterson is just saying that, oh, it doesn't work, so get them out of the workplace, instead of, oh, let's teach people to not be sexually explicit or whatever. Like, there's no point. Like, you're at work. You don't need to hit on your fucking coworker, okay? You don't need to do it. You could just do your job and go home. You don't need to hit on your coworker who you find attractive. You don't need to do it. So maybe don't do it, because it's probably annoying to that person. I think you would find it very annoying if every day one of your coworkers walked up to you and was like, hey, how's it going? How's it, like, how's your day? You look really good today. Stuff like that. Like, that, it gets fucking annoying, because you're trying to do your work, and some dude or some chick is constantly talking to you about your day and how you're doing, and you look great. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, no, you're right, but that's why it's like not like illegal. But the solution isn't to just take women out of the workplace, right? Does that make sense? Because that's what he's about to like suggest is that, well, why don't men and women get together in the workplace? It's like, well, let's look at makeup, and then like we'll get into that in a second. But right now, he's basically suggesting that the sexual misconduct and harassment on movie sets is somewhat justified because, well, they're having sex in movies.
So you think Hollywood doesn't exploit sex? Hasn't a feminist been?
Yeah, so Hollywood does exploit sex. That's the problem. The solution is call them out for it and stop doing it. A movie can have a rape scene in it. A movie can have hookers in it. But the workplace doesn't have to be filled with that. You shouldn't be asked for sex because you had fake sex on set one time.
Saying that for 30 years?
Like, imagine that. Imagine you had a sex scene with a fellow actor, and then that actor came up to you, or actress, came up to you and said, like, hey, we should do that sometime. And you're like, no, that was just part of the job. I have a wife, buddy.
The entire entertainment industry does nothing but exploit women sexually. Is that true or not? And if it is true, then aren't they
That's not true. There's a plethora of movies that don't exploit women sexually, but okay.
contributing to the problem? And if they're contributing to the problem, then
But how is that contributing to the problem? How does that make... That's not a... Just because there's sex in a movie doesn't mean you should go up to your coworker and go, hey, buddy, you want to fuck? No, but... Do you see what he's saying? Like... Yeah, and that's the problem. But Jordan Peterson doesn't think that's the problem. He thinks
where's
that...
all the ethical industry doesn't...
My point is that it's bad, but his point is that it's just going to happen because it happens in the movies. So because a movie has sexual misconduct in it, therefore it's okay that the workplace has it. Or it's not, it should be expected that the workplace has it. But it's like, no, what the fuck?
Nothing but exploit women sexually. Is that true or not?
I disagree. Okay, well then let's just go over it one more time.
Well, provocativeness. If I was
Higher incidence rate of sexual
No.
assault or harassment?
No, but I would say that if I was part of an organization that built entire dozens of careers on sexual provocativeness, I would be very careful about like waving the ethical flag in the sexual wars. So you think Hollywood doesn't exploit sex? Hasn't a feminist been saying that for 30 years? The entire entertainment industry does nothing but exploit women sexually. Is that true or not? And if it is true, then aren't they contributing to the problem?
Do you get it? So he's saying... Oh, fuck, I've even forgot myself. Jesus Christ. What did he say at the start? Oh, yeah. So, essentially, he's just saying that you should expect, or like it's expected to be part of the job because the industry itself profits from it. So, because movies have sex scenes, because movies have sexual overtones, it's okay, or it's justified that there's sexual misconduct at the workplace.
And if they're contributing to the problem,
But
then where's all the ethical...
But you're arguing at that point that Hollywood is one sort of totemic idea, that it is one sort of...
Also, not all movies have women being exploited for sex or treated as sexual objects.
that a woman who works in entertainment must then like pledge allegiance to this idea of sort of totemic Hollywood and not come out and give her story. Like you're saying that like if
she can come out and
that
give her
that
story.
she's like somehow complicit in all of it.
The degree to which we're all complicit in what's going on is unspecified. I said already, you know, we don't know how to have an adult conversation about sex. It's not surprising. It's not the least bit surprising. So,
I
but
guess I don't like. So then, what is it then? Like, because this seems to be like the sort of collectivist thinking that you rail against. You know, you're saying that Hollywood is one thing, and that Hollywood made its own bed, and therefore Hollywood should not speak about this issue because they're the ones that were pushing.
See, like
Mr.
he's
Jen.
no,
explaining
isn't
it
that
pretty
they
well.
shouldn't speak about it.
Or that they
should
do
speak
not have the
carefully
moral
about it.
authority to.
They should speak
about it.
carefully about it.
Do you feel like they're not speaking carefully?
Absolutely, they're not speaking carefully. Not enough.
So do you see what we're getting at here? He's saying that you can come out and talk about it. Yeah, but like when you're watching a movie, it's your fault if you come out of a movie and think, all women are sex objects because that movie said so, right? That's like you're a shitty fucking human being if you come out of a movie and literally believe that what happened in the movie is like real life, right? So he's saying that they should be, just because Hollywood profited off of movies having sexual undertones or whatever, or people in movies being sex icons, that they have to be careful about talking about it because, well, they're profiting off of it. It's like, no, they don't. It's your fault if you come out of a movie and think that you're allowed to just talk to women how they were spoken to in the movie. Yeah, but where do they glorify it? In just the James Bond movies? Because that's his character, right? You wouldn't come out of, like, James Bond. Yeah, I mean, if you come out of the James Bond movies and think that that's the way you should act at all times, that's your fault, not... Yeah, no, but they don't, right? That's one movie. That's one series of movies. No, not any... Okay, see, this is where the hyperventilation... Just because James Bond is a particular male, like the particular way he's acting, doesn't mean that all men should act this way. Hollywood isn't saying that all men should be James Bond. Just that James Bond is a film, and this is a dude, and you can... And if you come out and act the way he acted, then it's like, it's your fault. You're adult. You're an adult. You should know how to act in front of people. So, like, you're saying any strong male lead is like the ideal man. Well, no, it's not. There's a bunch of different how men are characterized in different movies. James Bond is one characterization of a man. What? Okay, well, first you have to define what the James Bond-esque thing, because there's the new movies of James Bond, then there's the old movies of James Bond. So do you just mean like that suave, like kind of like walk up to people, gentleman, like kind of ish chivalry-ish type? Because there's other male portrayals, which is, well, you got American Psycho. I mean, I don't think you would want to be the American Psycho version of a male. Right? I don't, like Batman. I don't think you should go around acting like Batman. Like, if you come out of the movie, if you watch American Psycho and think like, oh, that's normal behavior, that's your fault. It's not the movie's fault. Well, Bruce does. Bruce Wayne probably does. Kind of. Then there's Batman, who just fights crime and has a deep voice. And then there's the American Psycho guy. What the fuck's his name? What superhero doesn't? Well, you could argue that the Flash in the most recent Flash movie doesn't. He's a very quirky kid who doesn't really know what's going on. Aquaman is very egotistical, whereas Superman is not egotistical. He's very, he tries to be empathetic and I don't really want to use the term like godlike, but you know what I'm saying? Not all men in movies are the exact same people. They'll have similar characteristics, but they're not all the same. I mean, just look at the Avengers movies. Every single one of those guys are all different. Okay, well, you'll have to show me how their traits overlap, because the guy in American Psycho does not overlap, even though they're the same actor. Fucking, what the hell's his name? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, Christian Bale. He's the same actor in American Psycho and in Batman, but they're totally different people. Okay, basically the story of American Psycho is that this guy, Christian Bale's character, Patrick Bateman, is a fucking psychopath trying to live a normal life. He fails miserably at it and murders a bunch of people. He'll go out. He'll have sex with a woman. So basically, what he does, this is his plan. He'll murder anybody, but for the most part, he attracts a female with his swaggers, ways, and being rich. He'll ask somebody out, bring them to his household. This happens with a guy as well too, because he's drunk. But basically, he'll take somebody home, bring them home. Usually, in the movie, it seems that it's a lot of women for sexual acts. He'll have sex with them in a very, very strange way, and then murder them in a very bloody manner. Bruce Wayne does not do that at all. He doesn't take people home and murder them. If you come out of the movie and think that it's okay to have sex the same way Patrick Bateman does, you're fucked up. You're fucked. He has sex in the basically there's a scene in the movie where he has sex with two hookers, and then he has kind of normal sex with them. And then after that, he pays them a little bit extra, and they leave the room. Like, they don't show the scene at all, and they leave the room bruised, cut, and bloodied. Confidence in men is strongly... Well, yeah, more confident men would theoretically sleep with more women. Oh, let me just see what... Hold on, I might be... I just want to make sure I'm getting what prowess means again. Skill... Yeah. So, sure. That's... Okay, so I did get it right. Sure, like a more confident dude will be able to bone more women because he's got confidence. But that doesn't mean the way... That doesn't mean the way he does it is right. Or, like, a confident dude at the workplace... Sure, he might bone the women at the workplace. Doesn't mean it's right or it's, like, appropriate. No, it doesn't encourage them. It's just showing a characteristic. A confident person may be able to get more women or have a better sexual life. But that doesn't mean you should do it at, let's say, the workplace. You could use those characteristics outside of the workplace. That's the whole point, is outside of the workplace. You can be as suave and as charismatic and awesome. Like, that's the bar. Like, you could go to the bar. You can do all that stuff, right? But you shouldn't do that at the workplace. Is the whole point of the video, is that at the workplace, these things shouldn't happen. You might accidentally, and that's why it's not, like, illegal to do it. It's just discouraged. You might accidentally be charismatic, and you might accidentally be somewhat flirtatious with somebody. It's just, like, to be aware with it, because I would say, I'm trying not to suck my own dick here, that I'm pretty charismatic. I'm a decently funny person. And maybe it's a problem with me and, like, why I don't have a girlfriend at the moment or whatever, blah, 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 is that I don't ask anybody out. I try to stay disconnected because I don't want to cause any problems, which could be something toxic as well. You're right. Like obviously the complete removal of confidence from men is probably a bad thing, because then how the hell are we supposed to have sex, basically, right? Yeah, but that's not biological. That's cultural. We have culturally taught ourselves to seek fame, to become rich, to look physically attractive, right? Was it Romans? I think it was the Romans. Back in the Roman days, they thought that chunkier women were the sexual peak of a woman. That was the most attractive you could be, is chunky, because it meant that you had like that you were well fed and stocky and could bear the children and stuff like that, right? Like, this constantly changes all the time. Currently, or in the past, we've idolized fame, physicality, and your fortune, and we've associated that with men predominantly, right? Like, a woman can't really be financially, like, a woman can't make more money in the house than a guy. Women can't be strong. Like for right now, most people in magazines wouldn't consider chicks that are, like, most people wouldn't consider chicks that are jacked as attractive. You know, I would find it pretty attractive. I don't know if I could ever date somebody, but that's because of my own ego, that I can't handle somebody being stronger than me. But that's like a more natural thing, possibly more taught, you know? I think that saying all sexuality is socially defined is inaccurate. Oh, but it 100% is socially defined. There might be, because this is like a Destiny's point of view, some things might be biological, right? We seem to have a biological. There might be some things that we are biologically connected to. Yeah, things like symmetry. It seems that symmetrically, we like things that are like symmetry is a good thing for, seems to be an attractive thing. But massive tits is definitely 100% cultural. A big ass might be biological, might be cultural, right? I think bigger faker asses are more cultural. But I think in general, wider hips seems to be biological. Do you see what I'm saying here? So a woman being jacked to some people is very attractive, to other people is not attractive, and to the majority of people is not attractive. And then because of that, magazines, your boss will like discourage you from being that way. Let's say if you're a model will probably be discouraged from gaining muscle because it's unattractive. A little bit, but I think that's more with an ass. Because small tits and big tits can do the same job, whereas a bigger ass is kind of connected with wider hips, which is a better indication of childbearing, I think is the most thing, whereas tits, big tits, small tits, they get the job done. There's no like correlation between them nurturing your child better for bigger tits. Because like bigger ass means like bigger legs means stronger legs means more carrying capacity, you know? And in the past, skinny chicks, like the 60s and 70s, like the Coke ages, I'll call it, whatever, skinny ass chicks were extremely attractive. Really, really, really skinny, really, really, really skinny chicks. And that has like moved into that's where we see like models are extremely skinny, like size like -1. Right? But that's changing now because more people like thicker chicks. Oh, 100%. You should not idolize a character in a movie. Because if that was true, then some people would be justified in idolizing Hitler if he was portrayed in a movie. Yeah, even the good guys. You shouldn't idolize anybody. You should be the best human you can be, right? I mean, this also plays into why I'm not religious at all, and I'm very atheistic, and I'm pretty much anti-religion. Is because that's you idolizing some fucking higher being over doctors, let's say. Like whenever someone gets a fucking successful surgery, they're always like, thank God. It's like, your doctor did that, you fuck. But yeah, idolization of people is not good. Yeah. The problem with Target, I could agree with you. The problem with Target goals is that they change, and we aren't changing with them. For example, historically, your target for being a man was get a job, don't show emotion, and be strong, I guess, whatever. Yeah, like you could be whoever you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be, but there should be no stigma around certain people. Do you get it? So you're allowed to be skinny. You're allowed to be chunky. I would say personally that you shouldn't be allowed to be fat because that's a objectively unhealthy thing. And being extremely skinny is also objectively not a healthy thing. So being healthy is, I think, a good guideline. So as long as you're healthy, I don't give a fuck what you look like. It's pretty much what I'm getting at. But for some people, healthy is being jacked. Healthy is being skinny. Healthy is being overweight. You know what I'm saying? And that was taught to you. A healthy male, a good man is one that has a job that will pay for himself, his wife, and his kids, who's physically strong and can grow a beard, right? But those are all cultural things that have been placed upon us by ourselves. Like, we made those up. That's like the whole gender roles thing, right? A good woman will stay home and take care of the kids and doesn't need to work because the man will take care of it. Where we know that that's not true. Women like to work and can work, but they also have every right to be a stay-at-home mama if they choose to be one. So I got a lot of messages on my phone too. Hold on. Oh, it's fucking some stupid notification. Fuck it. So I think basically my end point is that you can be whoever you want to be, but don't just, The clip Jordan Peterson saying that Hollywood portrays and idolizes sexual characters, which people will inevitably emulate, makes them blame fall partly on Hollywood. But the conclusion he's drawing is that people in Hollywood can't complain about sexual behaviors because in the movies they're making, they're portraying it. So, in other words, you make a movie that portrays American Psycho. American Psycho gets made. Christian Bale plays the American Psycho, and somebody goes out and murders somebody in the same way that Christian Bale's character Patrick Bateman killed somebody in the movie. Okay, does the exact same thing that Patrick Bateman did. Christian Bale has every single right to call that person out, and it's not his fault for being part of that movie that person went out and did that thing. That's the whole point of like what I'm trying to get at. It's not the fault of the actors. Like just because the actress was in a movie that had sexual misconduct or whatever doesn't mean that she's now allowed to be subjected to sexual misconduct. So Christian Bale isn't at fault for somebody trying to become Patrick Bateman. Hollywood isn't at fault for some people taking part in their, like, emulating something in the movies. Because if that was true, then any movie about World War II, Hollywood would be blamed for any Nazis that come out of it. Even though you're fucking dumb if you watch a movie about Nazis and become a Nazi, right? You wouldn't blame a documentary about Nazism for causing people to become Nazis unless the movie itself like literally tells you that being a Nazi is beneficial, whereas most movies will not tell you that it's beneficial to be, because it's just a character. Yeah, and Hollywood's changing, right? So people like, let's say, stereotypical James Bond back in the day, if another James Bond film was made, might not be characterized in such a way, or his characterization like that might be deemed bad because it's like, it's not true anymore. But what Peterson is saying is just because movies in the past or movies currently profit off of sexual misconduct, you can't be against sexual misconduct. Or it's questionable that you are.
Not in the least.
What is out of control about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna mess around.
Well, trial by public opinion, I suppose, is part of what's out of control about it.
Trial by public opinion? Do you think that's what's happening?
Yeah, to some degree, sure. It's very easy for people to come forward with accusations and demolish someone's reputation. That's trial by public opinion.
So, I mean,
and we don't have any conversation about the other side of the coin. You don't think women manipulate men sexually for advancement in the workplace?
Do you not think that there has been any sort of pushback against this Me Too movement at all?
Yeah, there's been some.
Okay, so then what do you mean we don't have conversations about the other side? It seems like every time I read any sort of publication, it's split more or less 50-50 and actually increasingly more towards like maybe this thing is out of control. It seems like that narrative is certainly out there.
Yeah, true. It has started to emerge in the last couple of weeks. That's true. Yeah.
So then
I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the question exactly.
So do you see what just happened here? He said at first, if he wasn't contested on this point, he probably would have stuck with it. But because there was evidence that there is a pushback against the movement, but at first he said that there's no pushback against the other side, which is totally untrue. There's people all over the place questioning the Me Too movement. I would even question parts of the Me Too movement. But in general, it seems to have had a positive effect on the movie industry because it got people like Weinstein out of there. It hit some rocks across the road, but it seems that they're bouncing back. Example, James Gunn. James Gunn got fired from making the Guardians 3 movie just because of some tweet he made 10 years ago, and I'm pretty sure he apologized for it. But guess what? Now he's back as the director. He's back. He's now the director of Guardians 3 again. Course corrected.
Well, my question is essentially that, like, when you
Is there sexual harassment in the workplace? Yes. Should it stop? That'd be good if it did. That'd be good. Will it? Well,
See, that's the crux. That's the crux of what he's going to say. Does sexual harassment happen? Yes. Should it be stopped? Yes. Both undeniable points. But will it stop? And then he's going to go on to kind of suggest that it can't be stopped because it's all biological. There's nothing we can do about it. So women should just not be in the workplace. But he'll never directly state that. That's the problem. So he'll never say that women shouldn't be in the workplace. He's just basically saying that if you are in the workplace, these are the things that will happen to you. Maybe, probably, kind of.
not at the moment it won't because we don't know what the rules are.
do you think men and women can work in the workplace together
I don't know.
without sexual harassment?
We'll see.
We'll see.
So, see what we're getting at? So he's like, I don't know, we'll see. It's been 40 years.
How many years will it take for men and women working in the workplace together
More than
to
40.
get a sense?
So he's just, because it's been 40, and now once it gets pushed to 50 years, he'll say that more than 50. Once it gets passed to 60 years, it'll be more than 60.
More than 40?
We're new at this.
We're new at this.
Absolutely. We're completely new at it. It's only been a couple of generations. That's part of the problem, right? Is that we don't know what the rules are.
So I'm pretty sure what he's going to go into is that we don't know what the rules are, so therefore just kind of let it happen naturally. We shouldn't dictate the rules right now because we don't know what's going on. But we do know what's going on. Men and women both have to stop asking each other out at the workplace and stop putting sexual characteristics on things that aren't sexual. Like, for example, makeup.
Like what? Here's a rule. How about no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
So you're
But he's completely ignoring that there's other colors of makeup. Yeah, people put on makeup to look good. Maybe it's for themselves. They like the way they look. It's art. It's whatever. But he just went on to say that why do people put makeup on the workplace? Because it's sexual. Why do you put red lipstick on? Well, because your lips turn red when you have sex. Why do you put rouge on? Well, same reason. It's like not everybody puts rouge on their cheeks and red lipstick on, and yet they're still being sexually harassed at the workplace. So he wants to ban all, he's suggesting to take away all. Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole problem is that he does, so yeah, I was going to say you disagree, but he suggests these things, but he'll never like staple it down. So he'll never actually say to get rid of makeup from the workplace. He's just going to suggest it, give a couple reasons why getting rid of makeup in the workplace should happen, and then leave it, and then let you decide. I told you that red lipstick and red rouge is sexual, and that maybe it should be removed, so therefore, have at it. You're right, he personally is not saying that, but he suggests it, you know? You're right, but that's the problem, right? He says all these things, like, he'll suggest this as a solution, but he'll never legitimately suggest it. But he won't say it's right or wrong. But he'll say that. So men and women seem to not be able to work together at the workplace. Why? Well, makeup might be a problem. Why would makeup maybe be a problem? Because, well, your lips turn red when you have sex, and so do your cheeks. Remove makeup from the workplace. It's like, well, okay.
your argument.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear makeup.
No,
in
no,
there.
I'm not saying that. But you're
See what he's saying at? So he just suggested that a solution might be to take makeup out of the workplace. After making his point about it, he says, I'm not saying that, but you just did say it. You just said it.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
But that's not why you put makeup on. Most people put makeup on because it makes them feel better, and it looks good, and it's artistic. Some people might, but most people who work in an office job don't do that. They like red lipstick. They like rouge. If you put on red lipstick and you put on red rouge and you go up to a guy and flirt with him, then the guy has every right to call it sexual harassment or like sexual misconduct. How do you know what? Oh, like most people don't put on makeup because a lot of people don't. There's not like everyone doesn't just wear red makeup. People wear black lipstick. People wear purple lipstick. People just put on gloss. Well, it's because it's at a workplace. That's the difference. What I was saying, so like I'll go back on my point. If a person so let's say a woman at the workplace wears red lipstick, puts on red rouge, and then starts flirting with you, she's the problem. But if I'm a woman at the workplace and I put on red lipstick and red rouge, and a male comes over and starts talking to me because I'm wearing red lipstick and red rouge, that's the problem. And he's saying that to instead of the guy not going up to the chick and flirting with her, to just remove lipstick from to makeup from the workplace. Yes, but it's wrong. It shouldn't happen. Yeah, but it's inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, so it appears that, you're right, some people might get into a relationship at the workplace, but it's probably a better thing to discourage it because it could get sticky, right? If you and a coworker get into a relationship and then break up, that workspace becomes very, very awkward very quickly. Would you not agree with that? So it's probably beneficial that the company has a policy that discourages workplace relationships. You can do whatever the fuck you want outside of work. When you guys are both leaving the building and you want to ask her out, go for it, do it. But at work, it's probably not a great idea to flirt with her and do whatever because you have work to do, right? And you shouldn't flirt with her just because she's wearing makeup that's red. And she shouldn't flirt with you by putting on red makeup and coming over to you and talking stuff like, look, oh, I'm so sexual, right? Both of those things are bad. And that's like the point, is that you should remove sexual advancements at the workplace, or discourage it at least. Maybe not remove it, but discourage sexual advancements at the workplace because it would help both sides. Like, some people will get into a relationship at work, but it's beneficial that we just discourage it from the workplace. What up, buddy? If by lefty you mean socialist, no. If you mean lefty by like a liberal, yeah. You're right. It's not possible to completely remove sexual advances at the workplace, but discouraging it is a good thing, and banning makeup is a bad thing, or probably not a solution to the problem. I don't think the reason women are getting harassed at the workplace is because they wear makeup. Well, yeah, but if you discourage sexual relationships at the workplace, and some dude is still harassing people at the workplace, you fire his ass. Or a chick is harassing a dude at the workplace, you fire her ass. Yeah, but you fire the sexual harassers. You don't tell the women to get out of the workplace or to not wear makeup because they're being sexually harassed for wearing makeup. You fire the fucker that's sexually harassing people. That's the problem with Jordan Peterson right now. He's suggesting that you don't wear makeup at the workplace, but that's not a solution to the sexual harassment problem. You're just stopping people from wearing makeup at the workplace, which is like what? Like, people have the right to wear makeup at the workplace. If it's like an office job, maybe there's some jobs that they don't allow work up at the makeup at the workplace, but it's, you know. No, he is literally saying, okay, so this is the problem, right? He literally just said to ban makeup, but he won't actually say it. He's just going to suggest it as a possible solution, but he'll never jump on board with the solution. He'll let you jump on the board with the solution. That's the whole problem with Peterson, is he'll make a lot of statements, but never agree or disagree with them. He'll just kind of suggest things and push you in a direction, but never jump on board with said direction. Let me just realize using the example scenario. The problem is that he's suggesting that women either not take place in the workplace or don't wear makeup at the workplace, even though that's not the problem. The problem is that people are having sexual advancements and sexual harassment cases at the workplace, and that needs to stop. Oh, but the problem is that people do literally do that. That's why he has a large following of right-wing white nationalist people, is because what he says resonates with them because of their internal biases. So you're right. Like, inherently, if everyone was properly educated on everything, Jordan Peterson speaking would have no issue. The problem is that I didn't say the alt-right. I'm just saying that he has a large right-wing following. There's a difference between the right wing and the alt-right. Anyways. Well, yeah. Aren't white nationalists also removed from the alt-right? I guess part of them are part of it too. But he would have some. Anyways, that's not the point. Regardless, he has a right-wing following because of some of his suggestions, and he might not agree with them. It's the same thing with like Ben Shapiro, right? Ben Shapiro has said things against the alt-right. He said he disagrees with the alt-right, but then he'll go and suggest that we should close the border and not let the Mexicans in, and I guess maybe that's more Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder's more for the border wall because he's made multiple videos on it. Like, that's dog whistling, right? This is the basis of dog whistling. You say you don't like these people, but then you whistle into their ear all the time. No, oh my fucking god, dude. No, it's a dog whistle towards those people. Being against immigration itself is not alt-right. But alt-right people will agree with you that we should kick out all the Mexicans. So Steven Crowder goes, hey, let's kick out all the illegal immigrants. But to alt-right people, all immigrants are illegal immigrants. Yes, that's the... Like when people say on Fox News say thug, they're talking about black people every single time. These thugs means black people. When Steven Crowder says homogenous, he doesn't mean homogenous, he means white people. Oh, like when he literally says healthcare in Scandinavia works because they're a homogenous place, he's literally just saying that it works because of white people. I'm not assuming shit. That's just true. That's just how dog whistles work. That's why right-wingers have power, is because people like you don't notice the dog whistles. But to white nationalists and to people who are more extreme, it resonates with them. Let's turn to the left side. What would be a dog whistle on the left? A dog whistle on the left would be things like, you could maybe consider it is immoral to own it is immoral to be this was kind of a rough one, but you could make an argument that saying that it's immoral to have $1 billion is a dog whistle to communists, or that right-wingers are inherently, or not right-wingers are inherently immoral, but yeah. Sure. No. You can't call anybody a racist by my logic. That's not true. You have to connect the two. So, for example, when Steven Crowder says homogenous, he says healthcare in Denmark works because it's a homogenous nation. And homogenous just means a nation of people that are that are alike. But if that was true, then it would work in like other nations that are homogenous. Like, but he always just says Denmark, and Denmark is predominantly white, and it works in there because they are homogenous. So in other words, it works there because they are white. Kind of. So like, here's another dog whistle. People who are poor. Well, actually, poor. So generally poor is not a dog whistle. No, you're right. Homogenous itself doesn't necessarily mean race. But whenever Steven Crowder talks about homogenous, he always talks about white nations or predominantly white nations. So now you can start to correlate it as a dog whistle. At first, like, let's say, like he always goes to, whenever he talks about homogenous, or him and Ben Shapiro talk about homogenous, they're always talking about a white nation, and they always seem to correlate it. So healthcare in Denmark works because they are homogenous. But he won't say that it works in Canada because they're homogenous, because Canada is not homogenous. Canada is very diverse, but healthcare still works here. So that's why he never talks about Canada's healthcare system. He'll only talk about Denmark so that he could bring up that they're homogenous, and then you can correlate that homogeneity means white people because they are predominantly white. No, but I do. It's called a correlation. So here's another dog whistle. Poor people. Hold on, you guys are both saying different things. I'm not saying things to fit my agenda, dog. Immigration to Denmark. Let's go immigration in the United States as well. Fuck it. So what do you saying by this? Yeah. So no, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So that's like part of the dog is because Denmark is 90% white, therefore healthcare works there. That's why he uses homogenous. No. What he means by homogenous is that the society, let's go to the definition of homogenous, of the same kind alike is homogenous.
Homogeneous.
So fuck. Of the same kind alike. So since Denmark is like 70, let's go with the lower number, 75% white, he's concluding that healthcare works there because they are 75% white. Yeah, but why is he meant? Okay, but if that was true, he would say that Canada is a homogenous society because we are all from the same country, or that the United States is a homogenous society because they're all from the same country. But he doesn't say that. He says that Canada, well, he never mentions Canada's social healthcare and homogeneity. And he'll say that things in Japan work a certain way because they are a homogenous society, because they're predominantly Japanese. So he suggests, like, that's where the racism kind of comes out of it, because he's saying, oh, well, Japan works because they're homogenous. So, well, and that's not racist because, well, they're Japanese people. You can't be racist if you think that Japanese people work together, like, better together. But then what happens is that you backtrack all the way to, like, it becomes a suggestion that black people don't work together properly, or like black people are stupid. So this is where the other dog whistle comes into, is with poor people. So yeah, you're right. You could argue that Japan is pretty racist because they don't want anyone else in their country besides Japanese people. Yeah, so a homogenous country would be a country that has many people that are alike. And Steven Crowder seems to correlate race into that. Like, so you could you could say that Canada's homogenous because we all have the same kind of culture. And that's why it's a dog whistle, because you could assume that. If you think normally, you'll assume that. If you're racist, you'll hear homogenous as white people. That's like the point of a dog whistle. No, but he's not suggesting that, because if that was true, he would say the same thing about Canada, but he doesn't. He never mentions that Canada is a homogenous country, because to him it's not, because it's very diverse. We have a hugely diverse nation filled with many immigrants and many different people. Out west, there's a lot of Chinese immigrants. In Ontario, there's a growing population of Indian of Indian people, and in Quebec, there are French Canadians. So every time he talks about homogenous, it's always with countries that have many people of the same race. Japan, Denmark. So to a normal human being like us, we would listen to that and hear, oh, homogenous, people who are just alike. So Canada is a homogenous country because we all share the same values. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty much open borders, let's be honest. To you, I'm probably the most open borders person you ever met in your life. I'm for vetting, but like it's hard to explain. Like we'll have to just go on forever. Because basically my entirety philosophy is that most people are it's a lot of culture-based stuff. We could just teach people. Like I'm just gonna I'm probably not, but I'm just gonna admit to it because we're getting into a long fucking discussion about how open borders I am. So I'll just say that I'm the most open borders person you've ever met. I'm really not, but it's probably just gonna end up being that. Yeah, like I'm just gonna, I'll just say it, like whatever. Because here's fuck, I need to go on to we need to stick on the dog whistle thing. But here's the basis of, thanks for the follow, buddy, I appreciate you. Here's the basis of like my open bordersness. I believe that we need to have a substantial vetting process that gets people into the country that we want. But I want everybody into my country. Now I'm from Canada, so we have a very small population. So most of my reasoning for having open borders is economic. It turns out that immigrants fucking shoot your economy into the sky. So we have 30 million people. I want to bring that up to 100 million people, because then our economy will fucking skyrocket. We'll bring our dollar back up, because our dollar is fucking garbage right now. That's right. Like I'm very uber capitalist on my border policy. Convicts? Probably not. But in Canada, we give convicts the right to vote, so. It depends, right? Like if they show, like let's say you were once convicted of a crime, but you've been let out of jail, you're a normal citizen of whatever country you're from, and you show signs, or you show that you are a beneficial member of society, come on in. Come on in. Because you're no longer a convict at the point. You might have done something when you were a kid. You might have went to juvie. That system of government, like let's say you're a convicted felon in a Middle Eastern country, that might just mean you were a Christian, right? Now I'm pretty fucking anti-religion, but you know what I'm saying. So maybe their policies on legality in the United States, you might have been a convict because you sold weed, whereas I would say that's not a convict, like you're not a felon. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not qualified to make that kind of assumption on what is a standard living for society. Some things that might be good is that if you can follow our Canadian Constitution and you agree upon it, that's one step. $10 billion. Most of that is from you trying to keep them out. And the reason that they go on welfare is because they're not integrated into... I'm assuming you're from the States. You're not integrated into society properly, right? If an illegal comes over the border, it's very hard for them to pay taxes because they can't own property. Oh, you're not from the States? Well, then where the fuck are you from, dog? usually what happens when you're not profiting off of your immigration, it's usually because they don't have they don't have status in your country, so they're not paying proper taxes. They're paying some taxes because if you get a wage, you're paying taxes. Okay, well you'll see like what country are you from, dog? Because America, the entirety of America is immigrants. That's what the United States is. The United States was built off of immigration, and now they're the most prosperous country of all time. He just said he's not from the States. America. Any water, dog? If you don't see the benefits from immigration, then you're just kind of like you're not educated on it. Because a capitalist, let's say you're a pure capitalist, a capitalist wants open borders because it will drive down wages and make them more money. And that's mostly where my border policy comes from, is economy. I want the Canadian economy to fucking skyrocket. And guess who will do that? Immigrants. We have a declining population, so our birth rate is lower than our death rate. So we have to bring in citizens from somewhere, or we're going to actually kill our economy. Where are we going to do that? Immigration policy, baby. I piss really fucking badly, but I don't want to leave this conversation. Fuck. And we've like totally gone off the rails about. We were talking about fucking dog whistles, and now we're on fucking immigration policy. God damn you boys and moving your goalposts. No, just kidding. Can I piss, by the way? Is that possible? Will you guys stay here? Because I like this conversation, but I need to piss really badly. Okay, what about the other guy? I need to know if WLP is going to be here. Okay, if you're still typing out a message, WLP, trust that I will read it the moment I get back, okay? I love you. I just got to piss really fucking badly and get water. See that my viewership went down. Did that guy go? Fuck. Anyway, so if that guy, I don't know if that guy's gone or not. Yep. Sponsored. Just kidding. I'm not obviously not sponsored. I wish it's a little bit bigger. I find there's not enough water in here. I find if I went ham, I could like suck this down in like 30 seconds. Anyways. True. Anyway, so let's go back to let's go back to. Do you want to? Oh fuck! Well, not really. Do you want? What the fuck? I'm running over my fucking headphones. Okay. Let's go back to dog whistling for a second. Did you have any other like opinions on the dog? Because we never concluded that conversation. And that WLP guy seems to be gone. If I could just move on to like other examples of dog whistling. I could try to find a video on it, or we could go through the rest of this video. But I think we kind of came to a conclusion on this, right? Oh, okay. So here, so like,
So your argument.
let's go over this one more time.
Some people.
Only been a couple of generations. That's part of the problem, right? Is that we don't.
So he's trying to set up that we don't know what the fuck we're doing, right? There's like we have no idea what's going on, even though we probably do. Who's he to say that we don't know what we're doing? He has no peer-reviewed studies out on workplace environment. There are councils of people studying this on what we should and not do. To you, it might not. To some people, it will. And that's the problem. So, let's see. Yeah, no. Yeah, but that's like the problem, right? It's his burden to be clear and precise on what he wants and is conveying to the audience. Because he's the one passing the message along, and this is his job. He might, like, that's part of the problem. He might be sexist, he might not be sexist. We don't really know. He'll say he's not sexist, but then say things like women shouldn't wear makeup at the workplace, but then say, like, he doesn't actually want to do that. But he suggests it, gives a few examples as to why, like, statements, not examples, statements on why women wear makeup at the workplace, even if they're untrue, right? So he states that women make red lipstick at the workplace because their lips turn red during sex. Why do you wear rouge? Same reason. Those are statements about wearing makeup. So then you can draw a conclusion from that, oh, women who wear red makeup want to be sexually advanced on because red makeup is sexual in nature, is the conclusion you could draw from that. And Jordan Peterson will not agree or disagree with that conclusion ever. He will just make suggestions and then back off of them and kind of just let it flow, which is like the problem, because it's impossible to talk to him about it because he'll never agree or disagree to the premise. He'll just make statements and then back off of them. You're right, yeah, but then he's wrong. So he backtracks.
Don't know what the rules are. Like what? Here's a rule. How about no makeup in the workplace?
So he states this.
Why would that be?
And he'll state reasons as to why this should be done.
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people.
Yeah, but he's wrong. He's just wrong, and he'll never show evidence to the contrary. Because if that were true, then, like, I don't think most women wear red makeup all the time. Most women wear makeup, but not for sexual reasons or to be sexually advanced upon. They just wear makeup because it makes them feel more attractive about themselves. And they enjoy putting it on for the most part. Yeah, it's usually for themselves. You put makeup, you get a boob job for yourself. It makes you feel better, is the general purpose of most things. Yeah, 100%. I go to the gym every day, or try to go to the gym every day, to make myself look more attractive for myself, not for anyone else. Sure, I have more of an ego, so of course I'm well aware that me looking better will get me more women. But I do it more for myself, because that's like where the inspiration, like, yeah. I cut my hair a certain way because I like it. I don't expect my hairdo to get me chicks. I have a beard because I like it. I wear this shirt because I like it. I'm saying most people. And then I could reverse that onto you in that you're generalizing that most women will wear it to make themselves more attractive to others. And he's generalizing by saying that it's for sexual reasons. If we come from the basis that I'm doing this all for myself, let's say I don't have any evidence for this. Just think of it from the basis standpoint. If I wear all my stuff, I have a beard, I have my hairdo for myself, then I won't be sexually harassing other people for it because it's just for me. Yeah, sure, but I know that like you're wrong. Even if you're right, it's a problem. So let's say it is true that women wear makeup because they want to look more sexually appealing, even though they don't. For the most, like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard because they don't. But, well, actually, if they are, let's say, fuck it. Let's go to the extreme. Let's say that women wear makeup at the workplace for sexual reasons. Well, then yes, you would probably ban makeup from the workplace because it would be causing all the men to go crazy. The thing is that that's not true. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your side just falls apart. Sorry. Like, it's an anecdote on myself, but yeah, I wear all my stuff for myself, not really for others. Sure, there might be an aspect to that, like, because I'm egotistical, I would want people to look at me because I'm jacked. Yeah, but I know you're wrong. You're right. We are entitled to our opinions. What I will say though is that you're not like an influencer, so we can. Well, yeah. Yeah, that could be a reason, and there's nothing negative about that reason. But if you wear makeup to, like, let's say you wear makeup. Yeah, sure. Some people might wear makeup to look more sexually appealing. That doesn't make it correct for a man to walk up to you, or anybody to walk up to you and try to sexually advance upon you or be sexual at the workplace, which is the whole conversation, at the workplace. If you want to look more sexually appealing at a strip, like if you're a stripper and you want to look more sexually appealing, that's like the job, is to look more sexually appealing. So makeup will be used to do such things. That's the job. You're at that job. If you're working in an office job and you're wearing red lipstick, it would be wrong for a man to associate that with, oh, she wants to bone. And if a woman walks into a workplace wearing red lipstick to try to attract men, and she's going around flirting with all the dudes, she is also wrong. You're right. That's why it's not illegal to compliment somebody at a workplace, but it should probably be discouraged because it could be very, 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 very annoying. Imagine. Here's another one. You're a girl who plays video games. And every time you get into a video game, everyone just goes, girl, 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 girl. Is that a girl? Is that a girl? How fucking annoying is that? You as a dude will never experience that. And if you do, it's so fucking rare that it doesn't matter. But chicks Still now, we'll get into a game, and if they say they're a girl, it goes girl, 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 girl. And that's probably not beneficial for the gaming community. So if I ran a very, like I do have my own Discord, but it's not like super massive. But if I had my own Discord that was massive, I would discourage that behavior and ban people who partake in such things. Why would it depend on the game? That's a weird one. No, yeah. What I'm saying is that dudes in video games typically go, girl, 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 girl. Is that a girl? Is a girl playing video games? And that's stupid. It's wrong. I think it's annoying. CSGO is the main example of that. Overwatch doesn't have it as much because there's a large female player base. So, there's no point in a dude saying it because it's just untrue, right? Because the stigma always falls with that, like the girl thing always falls back under the stigma that chicks can't play video games. But if you're saying that in Overwatch, it's like provably false because the player base is predominantly female or largely female. It ties back in because Jordan Peterson's trying to make suggestions that women can't do anything, or no, there can't be anything done about the sexual harassment out of the workplace. But he's suggesting so he just said that women shouldn't wear makeup at the workplace. Why? Because your lips turn red when it's like, well, just listen to it. I think it's right here. Fucking goddamn! What do I keep pressing spacebar on?
Would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
So your argument.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear makeup.
No.
See what happened? He just went back on it. So he said at first he put a statement out. Should women be allowed to wear makeup in the workplace? And he goes, well, why not? And then he goes, well, why do you wear red lipstick? To make you look sexually provocative. Why do you wear rouge? Same reason. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear lipstick at the workplace, but if you do wear lipstick at the workplace, it's sexual. Is essentially what he's getting at. But he'll never fully dive into that, so you can't call him out on it because he'll just say, "I didn't say that." But it's pretty. That's what I'm getting at with dog whistles. It's very much a dog whistle that women shouldn't wear makeup at the workplace, but he'll never himself accept that answer because he wants to be like all three. I think there's harm in how we being cognizant on how we present ourselves. Yeah, but it's not true that you wear. But what is too sexual? Is booty shorts too sexual? Debatable. Is a crop top too sexual? Yeah, but what is sexual, right? That's the huge issue, right? If I wear a bikini at a beach, am I being sexual? It's socially defined. We're getting there. So we constructed it to be sexually provocative or not. So that's why I would advocate that you remove sexual behavior at the workplace or strongly discourage it because we have no idea what the fuck is going on. But Jordan Peterson is doing the reverse where he's saying that women shouldn't, let's say your job is to be at the beach, so you would rather wear a crop top because it's more comfortable to wear. Jordan Peterson is saying that you shouldn't wear the crop top because some men might think it's sexual because, well, you're showing your waist. Why would you show your waist? But because it shows your hips, and your hips are bigger, so it shows that you're childbearing, which is like a sexual thing, whatever. See what I'm saying? Like he's aware that sexual harassment happens at the workplace. He wants it to stop, but his reasons for stopping it, the blame doesn't fall on the men, it falls on the women. Like, don't wear makeup. If you don't want to get sexually harassed at the workplace, well, just don't show up. Well, you just wear more booty shorts is one reason, and then whenever someone says, yo, you want a bone? Because you just go, that's fucking stupid, dog. No, she's just wearing booty shorts. She's comfortable in them. You yourself, that burden falls on you as the person and the society to because that's what society is a bunch of individuals, right? So if your workplace discourages you from sexually advancing on your coworkers, over time, sexual advancements will reduce. If you educate your children that booty shorts aren't a sexual thing, or wearing a crop top isn't sexual, or wearing a bikini at a beach isn't sexual, then over time it will not become sexual. Which is part of what Jordan Peterson is trying to suggest. The issue is that, again, he's just putting the blame or the responsibility on the women. Like, oh, well, what if one way to reduce sexual harassment is that women just wear blankets over themselves? Like, sure, that might like reduce sexual harassment, but okay, like you're making women wear blankets. Yeah, we 100% can, because I don't think booty shorts as shorts is sexual. I think that, like, right, yeah, I think that a woman could act sexy in booty shorts the same way she could act sexy in a skirt or a long dress. It's like more of an action, right? Like, yeah. Like, booty shorts to me is not inherently sexual. They're shorts. A bra is not inherently sexual. It's a bra. Spaghetti strapped bikini tops. Not inherently sexual. It's just a bikini. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between a bodysuit and a bikini? To me, fucking nothing. They're both just swimwear. Women can look attractive in both, obviously. On certain people, no, of course not. But that's what I'm saying. We have to educate. To me, a V-neck and a so I got this, and then I have shirts that have a V. Well, this one's not these ones, but I have V-necks. If somebody looks at me differently for wearing this shirt and a V-neck, they're fucking retarded. They're dumb. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're stupid. If you're more sexually attracted to me because I'm wearing a fucking V-neck, or if you actually, sorry, more like if a woman comes up to me and thinks that I want to bone them because I'm wearing a V-neck. Yeah, but they would be wrong to do so, or like that's like the whole point. If you're wearing a booty shorts and a dude looks at you like, look at that fucking, like the dude's being a dick. Same way, if a chick was looking at my V-neck and my chest hair sexually, I'd be like, could you stop? Yeah, but we can encourage. You're right. Like, we can't control your crazy grandpa. Like, if that was true, then you would just be okay with pedophiles running rampant, because we can't. Yeah, their impression is that they're super attracted to kids. Whoops. No, we could educate a pedophile to not be attracted to kids anymore. It's not a sexuality. Theoretically, you can teach people not to be gay, but we've come to the conclusion that that's probably not a good idea. So yeah, we can control people's impressions. We do it all the time. Like, some people's impression is that being fat is healthy. You're fucking wrong. Through what we wear? No. Okay, well, that's even easier, actually. It's pretty easy to change somebody's impressions on clothing. Yeah, and we shouldn't make impressions on appearance. If I have a tattoo, if I have a sleeve going down my arm, I should not be judged any differently than my coworker. I shouldn't. That's wrong. If I like to wear tank tops to work instead of t-shirts because it's hot outside, I shouldn't be judged for that. Yeah, but it's so here's the problem. No. See, the problem is that Peterson's not saying that. What he is saying is that these things will. So I wear a tank top to work, and my boss tells me I shouldn't do it because it's sexual or whatever. I have a female boss. Let's like flip the entire script. I have a female boss and she says, don't wear it because it's sexual. I will say I have every right to wear this tank top. It's your problem that you think it's sexual that I'm wearing a tank top. Jordan Peterson is saying, don't wear makeup because men find it sexual. Whereas it's the men's fault for finding it sexual when it's just makeup. You can bring this to like Islam, right? With hijabs. They've deemed it necessary to wear that because of their religion. I say, fuck that. Same with any religion. I mean, I'm pretty fucking anti-religious, right? I would say that you could be a nun and not have to wear those clothes. Now, being a nun is more of a choice, so you're not forced into it. So it's like, whatever. It's a career choice at this point. So you've chosen to wear those clothes. Now, I'm assuming that you might argue that sometimes a job may require you to wear a different shirt. Of course. So if I'm in a workshop, I'm not going to wear a tank top. It would be wrong for me to wear a tank top into a machine shop because it's unsafe, or jewelry to a machine shop because it's unsafe. But that's for a practical reason, not for like cultural reasons. If that makes sense. If I'm explaining that right. Oh, no, it would be. But it would be out of the norm because it's probably not workplace appropriate. But not like... Hold on, I gotta reword that because theoretically, you could see it in some workplaces as workplace appropriate. Because what is workplace appropriate and not? Well, exactly. That's what I'm getting into now. We can't really define it. So booty shorts could be suitable in some workplaces. But like I'm saying, like you have to look at it practically. Booty shorts... Yeah, but he's wrong. So booty shorts in a metal shop. If you know, do you know like I'm assuming you know what a metal shop is. Let's say you're like welding. Booty shorts and you're like, if you're welding and you're wearing booty shorts, you're dumb. Don't wear booty shorts if you're welding. No, but I'm trying to move to practical. So if it's not practical at your workplace, you probably shouldn't be wearing it. So I'm okay if somebody wears booty shorts to an office job. I mean, as long as they're not like, as long as their sexual organs aren't showing, I guess. Maybe. Why not? Same reason a satanic tattoo might be who cares? Might fucking piss off some religious people, but fuck them. Nothing's wrong with people walking around in undergarments all day. If you get naked, they've got a problem. Because genitalia is harmful. It turns out that through research, if kids see genitalia, it's pretty harmful. I mean, we could theoretically culturally change that, but probably be a little weird because it would lead to other doors opening up, like pedophiles. Pedophiles would have an excuse to get close to kids with their fucking junk out. So it's probably a good idea that we're not walking around naked all day. Maybe you can put that. Maybe you can apply that to undergarments. Yeah, essentially, you have to look at like what causes. Yeah, we can draw the line at naked because things like pedophilia, and so let's say all people were naked walking around. It'd probably not be beneficial because then they would open a door for idiots to just start whacking off in the street. Because it's like, well, I'm naked. I'm just diddling my dick. It's like, well, okay, that's wrong. So now you have to wear clothes in public because people can be gross in public. So maybe you can extend that to underwear, that people in their underwear might be acting weird and stupid in their underwear, so you make them wear pants. And then maybe a bunch of women are acting weird and gross with their tits all day, so you make them wear a shirt. But it's not like you shouldn't have to wear a shirt because men are attracted to boobs. Like if you don't want to wear a shirt, go for it. I'm allowed to not wear a shirt as a dude because we've defined male nipples as non-sexual. or like not a sexual organ that needs to be covered up. Whereas we've done that with boobs. Even though many females will find pectorals as very sexually appealing. To you, they might be inherently sexual, but I would say you're wrong. Like, like a Speedo is not inherently sexual. Same thing with like a thong is not inherently sexual. Why would clothes be biologically... We have to ignore societal because society can change. So you have to drop the society part because I'm arguing that society can be changed. So the only argument you have is that these things are biologically sexually inherent, because that's the thing that Jordan Peterson is advocating for, is that you shouldn't wear makeup at the workplace because biologically men are attracted to it, which is not true. And if it's society based, then society could change, and society has changed. It is sexual because the majority of people would say it's inappropriate. Yeah, but in 100 years from now, people could be wearing Speedos all over the place because it's a societal change. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with somebody wearing a Speedo in the office. Probably. Be a little weird, I guess, because of, like, my bias towards it. But if we're all wearing Speedos in the office. Now, if it makes people uncomfortable in a specific way, right? Like, your Speedo's literally just showing off your junk. Yeah, maybe get rid of Speedos. And because you're getting rid of Speedos, you would also have to get rid of anything close to that for females. But that doesn't make it inherently sexual. We're just getting uncomfortable with it. Well, because they cover up your junk. Right? They are a barrier between you and your junk. They're a weak barrier, but they are a barrier. So it seems like we've defined the line as your junk being out in the open. So, like I said before, maybe you can take off Speedos because enough people are being gross and weird with their Speedo, right? They're sitting on the table with their legs stretched out, all weird and gross. So maybe you tell people not to wear Speedos anymore. But if you're at the beach, if your job is a lifeguard, you can probably wear a Speedo at that point. But maybe in the office you can discourage that because, well, it's a little weird. Yeah, they themselves are acting sexually. It can't be the same with makeup because you're not... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're at the office with a Speedo and you're being sexual, get them to stop being sexual. And then if it continues... Like, if it's just inherent, right? If people at the office are... well, not even, because then at some point, like, the culture will change. Well, it's clearly not, because people can like it's makeup, and it's usually the people. It's not like the people who are wearing makeup are being weird, whereas the people wearing Speedos. So that, like, the reason that I would get rid of Speedos is because the people wearing Speedos are being weird. But people who are wearing makeup aren't being weird. If people who are wearing makeup are being weird, you tell them not to be weird. Same thing with the Speedos. But, like, I have no problem with a guy wearing a Speedo at work. I mean, if he's at a machine shop, it's probably fucked up. Well, yeah. But that's why I'm saying I'm probably okay with somebody wearing a Speedo at the office. Because it doesn't really affect my life. As long as he's not being sexual towards me. And if that person is using his Speedo wearing as a way to be sexual, then you tell that one guy to not wear a Speedo anymore. Like, stop wearing a fucking Speedo to work. If your job is like a business and you have an attire of business wear, so suit, tie, then you can't wear a Speedo there. Because that's your general look at the business place. Well, he is, because he wears it and walks around being all sexual and weird. So, like, okay, let's say we have a fucking blank canvas of a workplace, okay? Your job is to literally press a red button all day. All day long, you press a red button, and nobody interacts with you all day. You can wear whatever the fuck you want. at that job because nobody cares. Nobody's there to talk to you. Let's move it up. You're in an office space, and all you do is to press that button. You can probably wear whatever you want. Let's say maybe not being naked, because like I said, if you're whacking off in your seat because you're naked, like let's say everyone is naked and they all can work properly in the workplace, it's probably fine for them all to be naked as long as they're all cooperating and not being sexual with each other. Well, that's up to the office, and as long as they're being equal, right, and not being discriminatory against people. So a workplace might say, hey, you can't wear Speedos here because we have this business attire. You have to wear pants, a shirt, and that's about it. Then you can wear pants and a shirt. Well, that's not true because, like I said, at the beach, and maybe your workplace is different. It's subjective. Society as a whole hasn't accepted that Speedos are wrong because people wear Speedos at the beach. And we could theoretically extend that into the workplace. But maybe your boss... Yeah, but you're saying that there's a threshold for skin exposure which society has set as acceptable in any given situation. At the beach is a situation. So at the workplace, but why aren't they appropriate? It depends on what you're doing. So let's say you're interacting with, well, we've judged business to be like wearing a suit and tie and stuff like that. So if you're working there, then that's probably fine. Like, you know, you're agreeing to that. With makeup, the problem is like we're moving into like makeup, right? So I have nothing wrong with if I owned a business and we worked in an office all day, I would have no problem with people wearing booty shorts because it doesn't really, as long as it's not affecting work. Now let's say it somehow affects work substantially. We have to dig into the problem. So Jordan Peterson is saying that makeup is affecting the male workforce, but instead of course correcting the male workforce, he's just telling females not to wear makeup. So let's say booty shorts in an office space, because they probably would cause problems in the workplace. I wouldn't just like instantly ban booty shorts. Yeah, and wearing makeup doesn't do that. Maybe booty shorts does. Maybe booty shorts does for your specific business, so maybe you don't wear them. Wearing makeup doesn't have that problem. I mean, it shouldn't, right? And then you can argue back, and then you could just argue back that booty shorts shouldn't either. So that's why you could encourage or discourage certain things. He's telling us to not wear makeup at the workplace. And you could, I've stated this before, maybe I just didn't work. Like, you could discourage wearing makeup at specific workplaces for specific reasons. I don't see what workplace it's really applicable at. Maybe you're working in an environment that needs to be like vacuum sealed or whatever, so you gotta be super clean, so you can't wear makeup because the particles of like the makeup, you have to be like uber scrubbed down, so you can't wear makeup there. That's a good question. Why do businessmen? I don't think you should have to wear a suit as a business person, but us as a society has deemed that business wear, and I don't have to agree with that. I don't agree with it, but you know, I'm not gonna say you can't wear a suit at my workplace, but I'm also not gonna say that you must wear a suit. If I had an office space, I wouldn't tell people that they have to wear a suit. If I had a team of lawyers, I wouldn't give a fuck about, like, if I had a law firm, I wouldn't tell them to wear suits. Whoever the fuck they want, as long as they get the job done. Probably. But what's the inherent value of you wearing a suit in a business? How does that affect your bottom line? Does it increase your profits? Well, if the person that you're talking to, if your business is dealing with somebody who won't buy your product, if let's say, okay, let's go with this. If if there's two businesses and one of them is casual wear and one of them is business suit attire, and both of them go to a company to try to sell their product to, and the company chooses the business attire company solely based on the fact that they are that they're wearing suits. That's not the casual wearer's fault. That's the person buying the product having a bias towards suits. Like the people in the business suit could have an inferior product, but the person has a bias towards suits, so he buys it from them. Same thing with tattoos, right? Okay. Yeah, but to me, it's just clothes. Like, I don't give a fuck that you're wearing a suit. It's a goddamn suit. Congratulations, you bought a fucking suit. Oh, it's gray. Oh, amazing. Wow. Amazing. Good job, buddy. You bought a suit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to buy your product because you're wearing a suit, and I'm not going to buy your product because you're wearing casual wear. What the fuck does your product do? That's what sells it to me. If you walk into my office with booty shorts and have a brilliant idea for my company, I'm not going to tell you, sorry, you wore booty shorts to the interview. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, subconsciously they do. And we should move towards removing that subconscious bias towards things like tattoos, suits, makeup. Because that's what a bias is, right? You are judging people based off of their appearance. With education, right? You educate, you tell your kids that this is okay. Why do you think tattoos have become more and more acceptable in society? In the past, they were, now ignoring the lack of, no, well, there's enough technology for decent tattoos, but tattoos or war paint even was I don't know. Let's go with like the 60s. Anyways, basically tattoos have been becoming more and more acceptable in society because we have removed our subconscious bias that tattoos are bad. And where did that subconscious thing come from in the first place? Who the fuck knows? Probably religion. The Bible says something about fucking tattoos, so therefore we just remove it. It's pretty easy to remove someone's subconscious bias towards people. Why do we accept gay people now? In the past, it was subconscious that gay people were just but now they're accepted. Why do we think slavery is wrong now? In the past, we subconsciously agreed that slavery was positive and beneficial, or just normal. We subconsciously change our minds all the time. Oh my god. Hold on, let me read off this. I'm dying. Here's the thing: if socializing our children to behave / dress themselves in a manner that is currently deemed acceptable would raise their chance of acceptance into society. Well, because it turns out that some people like naturally don't want to like. Right, you have a rebellious child. No matter what the fuck you tell them, they seem to just want to be a contrarian, and there's no way to control that. So, even if you tell your kids, that's what like. The first position is that you just let people wear whatever the fuck they want and you don't hold a bias towards them. Right? The second position is everyone must wear this. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the follow. The second position is that you must wear this because if you don't, you're going against society or whatever. It's like booty shorts is sexual, suits are formal. Whereas in reality, it's just subjective. We just came up with it. If we could easily reverse the roles, and booty shorts might be considered business casual, and suits are sexual because people view suits as sexual all the time. It's like a minority, but it happens, right? And why do they do that? Well, maybe they watch 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know. Like, who the fuck knows where seeing suits as sexual comes from? And this is all based on like the workplace, right? Like that's like the whole. Like, you might even still view these things as sexual. I don't particularly, but you might. But don't let it affect your work. Don't walk up to the lady in the cubicle next to you just because she has makeup on. Thanks, buddy. I hope you're having a swell April, okay? Hope you had a good Easter if you celebrate that. I don't like religiously celebrate it. I mean, I had fucking eggs and shit, like chocolate eggs and whatnot. And Good Friday as well if you also celebrate that. I don't know. Are you the guy from, I think you are, aren't you? Yeah, you are. What up, buddy? I messaged you on the Discord, I think, right? Yeah. What up, dog? Cool. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Oh, fuck. I was gonna like crush my pinky against my pen. Or my highlighter. Which I'm holding for no reason. How many followers am I at now? Fuck. I think I'm reaching 200. Even though nobody sticks around. But I think I'm reaching 200. Yeah, 10 more. Well, 11 more. Yeah, I just have no viewership. Because I've been building my followership up like stagnantly. But I've got no viewership. It's growing recently. I've been able to hit like 3 average viewers or like 4 average viewers, I think, if I go to my statistics. Awesome. Thanks for the host, buddy. Hopefully the notification works. It doesn't. Fuck. Oh, I don't have it up. That's why. Oh, no, I do. What the fuck? Well, thanks for the host, buddy. I appreciate you. That's really weird. I have a notification for it, but it didn't show up. But I appreciate you, buddy. Shit. Where's my statistics? Oh, be in achievements. Yeah, hopefully. Well, that's why I wanted to do that roundtable thing you guys were talking about, because it could get me more viewership as I pwn the libs. I am a lib, but pwn the cons. Oh, it says my average viewership is 1.15 still, which is pretty low. I've been getting higher than that for sure, but whatever. No, I haven't. I need to average affiliate. I need to average 3 viewers, and I haven't been able to get that yet. I've streamed for 48 hours. I've streamed on 14 different days. I've reached 50 followers, but I don't have a viewership of above 3. So whatever. I haven't even gotten 5 people chatting at the same time, or whatever. 5 different new chats. Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Now where the fuck is Sea Dog, okay? Get over here! Yeah, bro. Well, are you like streaming? Because like you can. Well, yeah, you can probably come on like right now if you want. I'm not really doing much else. I don't know if you're streaming though. I don't think you are. I think you're offline on the Discord, right? Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah, yeah. The problem I have usually with like is like I don't know like topics, so it's like yeah, we'll try our best. I think like the best thing I can think of right now is that we find like a video to go through, or like a topic to go on to, like immigration or whatever. The thing is, we might like agree on a lot of stuff, which would like not be great content, right? I try my best to talk to people who disagree the most. Is what I usually try to talk to. Agreeing with people is kind of, it's like fine. I mean, I'm a low viewership, right? So it will help anyways. But I know in the long term, it's not beneficial, in my opinion. You know. Yeah. Yeah, we could try something. I don't know. Probably. Depends. I have to go get a fucking part-time job. Yeah, probably something. Yeah, I'm down for anything. Just keep me in touch. Let me know if anything happens. I think you are doing more of like I'm less involved in the Discord, so I know less of what's going on. So you just keep me posted on stuff, and I'll definitely 100% tag along. Oh, normal streaming hours is pretty subjective at this point. I try to. It seems that I get up at like 9 o'clock, and I start streaming at like 11, and then I'll stream for up to 8 hours. Depends on the viewership. If the viewership is up and I'm having a conversation with someone, it will go on for as long as that conversation goes on. If the viewership is down, it kind of just goes like if nobody's there, then the viewership, like, or I'll stream for however long I want to stream for. Yeah. And then if I get a part-time job anytime soon, then it will change based on that. So the goal essentially is that, well, I don't know what the goal is actually. Depends. It would totally depend on the part-time job I get, or like the job, if it's full-time or not. If it's full-time, let's assume worst case scenario it's full-time, then I'd be streaming from 4 o'clock after, or 5 o'clock after. And that's all Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Yeah, any of those. Like, I'd be down to like read the entirety of the Mueller report, but I'd probably do that on my own time on my own stream. I wouldn't want to talk about the Mueller report without reading it. I forget who the fuck Zizek Peterson is. Yeah. See, I haven't even touched it. Yeah, I should fucking read it. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to top, like, mostly I'm just talking about, like, I'm just, like, responding to videos and a lot of more, not really subjective, but, like, philosophical, I think. Like, I'm not doing much research, right? I'm just kind of going into this. I can do the research on stream if need be, but I've been doing a lot of video responses just to get the content out there. Like, if I read the fucking full Mueller report, it doesn't really benefit me that much. I don't think people are down to watch me read an entire Mueller report if they have no idea who the fuck I am. But if I'm responding to their favorite boy, Jordan Peterson, or Steven Crowder, then it gets the views up and I get to talk to people who disagree. Oh, no. No. Not even close. No. Yeah. that's why I want to talk to people who are like in disagreement with me, because I will like pretty left wing, not socialist, more like soc dem, but bordering socialist probably. The problem is that like the major problem with getting on board with socialism is that well, there's no like direct evidence that it would work, right? It's a lot of just this should work, and it doesn't really fall through or hasn't been tried. In theory, this should work. It's like, well, in theory, a lot of shit should work. Yeah, like I get it. It's cool, but like I understand that there's been like the United States has been actively trying to get rid of it, but like there is an argument that like the United States has done a big part in stopping socialism, but one would eventually rise up. Like if it was so good, it should be in the States by now, right? Like there's not some massive conspiracy, like unless you're on board with a massive conspiracy against socialism, like Vietnam and Venezuela, you could argue that the United States kind of snuffed those out as socialism, but it would appear in some other way. Like it appears that worker-owned co-ops can work and whatnot, but it doesn't appear that moving to a full social market would work, especially since other markets wouldn't be partaking in it. So now you have a socialist country working in a capitalist market on a trade basis, which seems a little weird. Yeah, but like we're trying to do more taxation, and then sometimes it seems like people are just there to follow, right? They're sheep. They can't really think for themselves. So putting them in a worker-owned co-op could fuck your business a little bit, whereas one guy at the top of it could grow it really fast. And if that guy is being taxed heavily enough, then it doesn't really matter, right? Like one guy can run the business, but in socialism he can't, unless you're start arguing for like everything being democratic elected. So theoretically, one person could lead it, but then there's classism, so it kind of goes against the whole socialism thing of removing class if you do have a straight up class system in your workplace. I mean, if you're more of a socialist, then we can talk about that too. Yeah, 100%. I'm in Canada, so I have single payer, and I'm borderline pro nationalize schooling. Yeah, I would say that in education. Like I'm almost for nationalizing all education. Every time I see a fucking video of some idiot wasting his fucking private schooling, makes me just fucking ugh. Fuck, that's pretty sweet. Do you think that people should pay for something they disagree with? Well, you do already, right? I disagree. Like you disagree. If you agree or disagree with war, you pay for it. Like if it's beneficially good for the society. Like it already happens with the war in Iraq and stuff like that. But you can advocate against it and get your government out of there, which I would say is good. Yeah. Maybe, dog. But I'll still talk to you because it would be beneficial anyways to get our two communities together. And I'm not gonna make it like a thing, right? I'm not gonna like if the round tables that we get together on just turns out to be all of us like perfectly aligned and we don't disagree on anything, then I'm not gonna take part in them because it doesn't really benefit me as an individual seeking knowledge. My point is to fund any sort of national program government only pays with through taxpayer dollars. Yeah, you're right. But if you let's say police force, right? You might disagree with the police force and how they're handling things, but the police are inherently beneficial to the country. You have to take the bullet if it's beneficial. Like, people are going to disagree with it all the time. Rich people will always disagree with taxation, but it's beneficial for the entirety of the country, so get the fuck over it. If something is not beneficial and is being paid for with taxpayer money, then you hold your government accountable for that. For example, rebuilding the Notre Dame. So it's like, anyway, or Notre Dame, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm more French, so I could say Notre Dame. Anyways, rebuilding that, the United States government sent over money. That's probably fucking wrong, because there's no point. We don't, what? Well, the statistics. So, for the border wall, right? Right-wingers will argue that it's beneficial because it will stop people from coming over here. That's pretty largely untrue, since a lot of them, I don't think it's most anymore, but a lot of things come from visa overstays and other points of entry. A lot of people cross the border by just walking through the border gate. They just hide in the car. But yeah, we figure out what's worthwhile and beneficial through research and analysis on the thing. So the border wall is not cost effective for what it's meant to do. If it's meant to stop all, like if the goal is, which is what Trump is saying, is that it would stop all illegal immigration, he's just fucking wrong. So there's no point in putting the money towards the border wall. If he wants to stop immigration, put the money towards just the security at the border. That's what stops illegal immigration. But he wants to put up the wall. Why does he want to do that? Because it's a symbol. The symbol is get the Browns out of here. But he doesn't want to actually put real money towards it. He doesn't want to reform. So this is like, here's another dog whistle. The wall is pretty much a dog whistle at this point, because when you ask somebody, hey, why do you want the wall? Well, it's to stop illegal immigration. It's like, well, maybe illegal immigration is happening because your immigration system is broken at its core. Maybe you should try to reform that. I don't want to do that, is what they'll say. Okay. I'm simply saying supporting a national program like healthcare, for example, or a border wall where taxpayer dollars are paying for things which a generally American populace might not agree with is wrong. Well, the general population doesn't, agrees that Medicare for all is what they want. The general population disagrees with the border wall. See, for me, I would prefer that the United States has a plan to remove the border and to help Mexico boost their economy. But if that's not part of Bernie Sanders' plan, I'm not going to not vote on him because of that, right? You have to take some hits and move in some strides, right? I mean, I'm not going to vote for him anyways because I'm Canadian, but you know what I'm saying. You might have to take a few steps back to take a big leap forward. I think that might not be applicable. Maybe ignore that. But yeah, what I'm saying is the border wall is borderline a dog whistle at this point, because it always seems to be, whenever someone's defending the border wall, it always seems to backtrack to, well, they're just Mexicans. I don't want them here. And it's because you ask them, hey, would you be for reforming and helping the Mexican government reinstate true democracy and whatnot? And they're like, no, I don't want my tax dollars going towards that. It's okay, well, why do you want your tax dollars to go towards the border wall? Well, because it kicks out the brown people. That's pretty much what it backs onto. Yeah, but that's not a majority, buddy. Okay, 75% of Americans believe that we should have that America should have Medicare for all, or a single payer system. 42% is not a majority. Sorry to break it to you. %50 of Trump voters? Let's see what this says. Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's nobody. If the population, I might disagree with the border wall, but if for whatever reason the overwhelming majority of the population agrees that we should build the border wall, I would have to pay for the border wall. Yeah, it's 8 points, but it's still not a majority, right? So the border wall is going up, and and the majority of the country doesn't want it. That's not democratic. The majority of the country wants Medicare for all, and the American and the U.S. government is not giving it to them. That is also not democratic. Yeah, but the reason that it's a valid entry point is because it's so impossible to get into the United States in other ways. So what I'm saying as to why it kind of turns, like for conservatives, it seems to turn back on keeping the Mexicans out is because when you ask them, hey, do you want to reform our immigration policy? Because right now it takes like 3 years to get in this fucking country, and every 6 months you have to go back to your old country, right? That's pretty much how you immigrate to the United States. So it's impossible for a Mexican to do that because going back to their old country would risk them death. So they come here and then, yeah. Let me just give me a second. Yeah, Dog, that's exactly it. The problem is that conservatives don't want to do that. They don't want to reform the immigration system because they don't want Mexicans here. That's the dog whistle. The border wall is a dog whistle. If you talk to Americans, they would much rather reform the immigration system than build the border wall. But because of Trump, they think that the border wall is like effective or whatever. Exactly. No, exactly. You're 100% right. And most people would agree with that. And that's Bernie Sanders' plan. Is that border security, that's almost verbatim what Bernie Sanders has said. Yep. Well, he hasn't said that, but that's also true. You're almost in 100% agreement with Bernie Sanders. The border wall is ineffective at its cost because it doesn't really create jobs. Once it's built, it's built. And then it just stands there, and it doesn't really stop anyone from getting in because they can dig under it, go over it, or through it, because there has to be slats in it so that you can see through it. Yep. Bernie Sanders is for free college education. Which, like I said before, is probably fine because it seems that now a college education is needed for a stable job. All right, you both disagree with it. Ah, time to fuck you all. What is this? Oh, it's that weird rice ball thing. Yeah, well then make it free and make it for every job. It's really not a great cost. Just the increase in the military budget last year from Donald Trump would cover the entirety of the education of tuition for like the next 7 years. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure part of Bernie Sanders' plan would be to bring those schools and make them free. I mean, pretty dumb if he makes it free schooling and all the schooling is just for arts. No. You wouldn't put the money. Students would go there and get an education. Not specifically. In my province, we have OSAP, Ontario Student Application something. And basically, you get X amount of money from the government, and a portion of it is a loan. And then use that to help pay for your college or university you are attending. So the money isn't going directly to the college. They get it the same way they would get any other tuition. So that the tuition is given to you by the government. I mean, if you're in the boat that taxation is theft, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're just not. You're not right. Because you can go find a country. I mean, good luck. Go find a country without taxation. Well, because taxation is necessary. You would have to agree that for government to exist, there needs to be taxation. So now, if you're for the elimination of government, all right. Good luck. I think taxes are a necessary evil. So, police force is a necessary evil? Roads is a necessary evil? I think that would be a net benefit to the society. Okay. And some people don't use roads, but it's a benefit to the entirety of the society. Yeah. So, this is why you live in a democracy. Because if you're not for the border wall, and so is 75% of the country is not for the border wall, you can send in some mail to your president or go into protest about his decision to build a wall. All right, Turing. Take care, buddy. Huh. All right. Go eat, buddy. Have I made you hungry? No, come on. Killing my motherfucking viewership, boys. Fuck. Why would you do this?